How's it going, guys? So today I am making actually a commentary as opposed to tips and tricks in business or my personal journals on day trading. So I typically don't like to talk about things that I am not an expert on, unlike the conventional media or various people on the internet, like the two individuals we're going to talk about today. So I felt the need to talk about this because it actually deals with a topic that I actually know quite a bit on, since I am a doctor, and this has to do with healthcare. So some of you may know that there's a sort of a debate that went on, or a question posed by Joe Biden to Judy Faulkner, who's the CEO of Epic, with regards to patients having access to their own health data or whatnot. And her reply was basically, even if we let individuals access their information, they won't know what they're looking at. So those are the two individuals in question. But before we actually go into the article itself, let's take a look at what's at stake here. So for those of you who do not know, Epic is one of the top 3 electronic medical records in the country. So it's pretty much Epic number 1, Cerner close second, and then Meditech, which is sort of like a second tier, second rate type of company, and then everything else, which is either very small, inconsequential, or mainly outpatient, meaning outside the hospital system. So she is representing and is, I think, 46% owner based on wiki page of Epic. So not inconsequential as an individual, although when we start digging into her background, we realize that number one is she's old. There was no data science major back when she went to college, and she did have a college degree. She went to some no-name colleges and obtained a degree in mathematics, which is good. You know, you need some level of intelligence to do that, and computer science, which may not be relevant anymore. Who knows? She did marry a doctor, worked and partnered with a doctor as well, so, you know, I guess by extension you can sort of say she knows healthcare. I'm not really certain, but, you know, it's certainly very different than actually being in it and knowing it. You know, by extension, I have friends in the movie business too, but that doesn't really mean I know the movie industry. But that said, she did found this company, which now, by luck, more or less, because of legislation changes, first mover advantages and all that, it is now the biggest company. So let's look at Joe Biden. Go ahead, Joe Biden. Yeah, just scrolling through information. You know, there's not really much in the way of health experience. We can do a quick search, keyword search, and see. So, you know, there's a lot of issues that he's proposing bills on and whatnot. Immigration, gay rights issues, climate change. He's not an expert in any of them, basically, but he's, you know, trying to talk about it and passing bills on it. Either way, basically the point of this is neither of them are an expert. And the article in question here is basically they were having a conversation or debate or whatever, and Joe asked a very simple question of when should patients, or when are the EMR is going to have patients have access to their own medical records, and her reply is people are not going to understand it, which I doubt she understands it either, right? So to me, that's a very arrogant response. It's very indicative of the problems that healthcare is facing today. Is you have a lot of people who pretend that they understand, think that they should be the guardians of other people's information, and they profit from it. So if you think about how consumers are peeved that Google and Amazon are collecting their buy-in behavior information and data, well, this is even more personal than that. So if you're upset about Amazon and Google, you should be upset about people like Epic, right? Because by law, you should have access to your own information. However, in practice, it's very difficult for patients to actually get access to information for a number of different reasons, right? Kind of like what I said earlier with regards to issues of accessing the data, normalizing the data, meaning the data may not be presented in the same way across different clinics or different clinical settings, meaning from the hospital to your own personal family doctor's clinics, to home health or nursing facilities, nursing homes, your physical therapist, whatnot. Everyone records information differently. They code them differently. And that information is not shared oftentimes, so it's up to the patient to then go ask all these different people to piece it together. So basically, Judy and the big Epic doesn't really have the complete picture on patients anyway, yet alone be able to analyze it. So, by making that statement is really just uninformed and really shows how uneducated she is on this topic. Obviously, she has some education. She is she had a college degree, despite the fact that it's no-name colleges and no-name MBA, master's degrees or whatnot. But nonetheless, she did go to school, which is better than other people who don't even go to school. So from that standpoint, I do applaud her for finishing college and getting a somewhat advanced degree as a master's degree. But nonetheless, this is kind of the arrogance that a lot of physicians and other healthcare professionals display. And so, if anything, I think Joe Biden gets the win here by asking a very relevant question, despite the fact that he probably doesn't know much about healthcare either. And her not being able to answer it, she just took the, well, I don't think you would get my answer anyway type of response. So hopefully, people will make a stand for their own health records and make it a pain for these electronic medical records who are profiting. That's their business model, is to profit off of your information. So be a pain, go get your own information, and if there are other companies out there that sort of makes you the custodian of your own medical record, medical information, you should certainly support companies like that. I don't know of any that exist right now, but I'm sure Apple and Amazon and other folks are working on it. So I would rather give my information to those people than to have people who are not even consumer/patient friendly. Because at least Amazon, even if they're collecting that information, I do like that, press one button to order stuff, and ordering stuff that I actually want. So at least there's some sort of convenience or ease, whereas Epic, Cerner, Meditech, and all these other guys, they're collecting information. They're not making it easier to share information amongst them, because that's how they make their money. It's making things proprietary. That being said, it just gets on my nerves when people try to denigrate other people for no reason. That was a valid question, and she just doesn't have an answer for it. So let me know what you guys think, whether you think she got the W, or do you agree with me that Joe Biden got the W on this one, and whether these are interesting topics that you like to learn more about, how the medical system works, how EMR works, or whatever. But I just felt the need to make this video because it pisses me off every time I see people who try to portray themselves as better than others when they're actually clearly not. This lady's completely uninformed. But she got lucky. She hit the lottery, and now she feels compelled to let people know that she's better than them.